For the past few weeks, I've been showing you books from Palestine or by Palestinians that you can buy to read and learn more about Palestine or to learn more about the people of Palestine. So I thought I'd show you some books that I've bought recently that are about Palestine and a few that are tangentially related to Palestine or are by Palestinian authors. All the books I'm going to tell you about except one are from Bookmarks in London. It is the socialist bookstore in London. It is personally my favourite bookshop. There are loads of great bookshops obviously in London, but it's my personal favourite at the moment. They have lots and lots of reading about multiple different things, mostly from a left-wing perspective obviously, but there's things on Palestine, things on LGBTQI rights, there is African studies, there's more Marxist reading stuff, there's left-wing sports, left-wing culture, there's a really great second-hand collection which I'll show you. They've got pamphlets, they also often have talks from authors and activists in the store, and right now they have a lot of books about Palestine that are selling at a discounted price to make it more accessible for more people to read. One of the books I have here was at a discounted price, and they do oftentimes have a lot of books on Palestine that you're going to find difficult to find elsewhere. It's a lot of the stuff people are talking about. Unfortunately, some of the ones I wanted to go and buy were sold out. I'd been there twice in the past like 5 days. The first day I didn't buy any books because I didn't have a bag with me. Then I went back to go buy some more books a couple of days later. Unfortunately, a couple of the books I wanted were sold out, but they are regularly restocking. So if you are in and around London, make sure you check out Bookmarks if you want great reading about Palestine, because the company itself is also very pro-Palestine, so I really want to promote them and the books there. And just so you can get them from a bookstore that obviously cares about the issue, as opposed to having to rely on these massive conglomerates like Amazon, who I'm not going to put the links to them anymore in the comments down below because I don't want to give them money, and I guess I'll just give you guys links where you can maybe find the books, or you know, a less centralized place, unfortunately. But without further ado, let's go to the books. Number one is Voices from the West Bank. It is a collection of pieces written by young people from the West Bank. You know, about 60% of the population is under 20, and this is their voices. This is a compilation of books by people from the West Bank, of essays even, or just writings, diaries, thoughts, poems, whatever, from young people in the West Bank, so you know their feelings and what it is like to live under brutal occupation. This was one of the books they were selling at the time at which I bought it at a discounted price, so it's about £8 normally, they were selling it for £4. Next is Witness in Palestine by Anna Baltzer. This was actually in their second-hand / remainder section, so I don't know if there'll be any more copies there, maybe they've got more somewhere, but it is basically the travels of Anna Baltzer, who was a Jewish American who went there to go learn about the occupation, and how her spending time with activists, with people whose families were arrested, even with Israelis she spent time with, and how it changed her perception on the oppression of the Palestinians, and how she came to just understand, oh my god, these people are being oppressed. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it might be a bit of a difficult read. It's definitely more maybe an academic text, at least the way it was sort of, it looks like it's been printed to do so. Again, because it was secondhand, it was on the cheaper side. I believe it was £4 I paid for this. Next is one I actually didn't get from Bookmarks, but it is The Dance of the Deep Blue Scorpion by Akram Musallam. This is kind of an experimental novel. I'm about halfway through it. It's very experimental. It is about a guy living in Ramallah and his life, and just the weird things that he experiences, and you know, his obsession with this girl with a scorpion tattoo, but it's not actually an obsession. Again, very experimental, very, what am I reading when I'm reading this? It wasn't from Bookmarks. I got it online. I can't remember where I bought it from, but I recommend it if you're kind of into reading something that's a little bit out there. It's fiction, obviously. Now we move on to the books that are tangentially related to Palestine / not super related to Palestine, but you know, as I go through them, they'll get more related to Palestine. And The Sun has come out, so that's changed my lighting completely. First is Amritsar 1919 by Kim A. Wagner. It is about the Amritsar massacre, which was the largest massacre by the British Empire. It is about what led to the massacre, the results of the massacre, the British reaction, the Indian reaction to it. It is very not pro-British, because a lot of the stuff you see about the Amritsar massacre that is written from a Western lens is all about, oh, you know, Britain kind of had to do it, guys. It's kind of sad, but I guess it happened, didn't it? But it's about how bloody the massacre was during the Amritsar massacre. It was crazily evil of the British Empire to do, as the British Empire does, I suppose. But yeah, again, not really about Palestine, but again about British occupation and how they treated people under British occupation. So tangentially related to what's going on. We move on to sort of some speeches from Thomas Sankara. It is women's liberation and the African freedom struggle. So Thomas Sankara is a leader who unfortunately lived for a very short time and led Burkina Faso for a very short time after he was assassinated. France. Oh, sorry, I don't know what came over me there. And he at points was very pro-women, and he really was pushing for the education and the development of women in Africa to help with the liberation movement of Africa, because for centuries under occupation, women in Africa were treated as objects. They were treated as objects of desire by the West, and then they kind of put women in this place where they weren't seen as people who could help push forward their society, and Sankara was very for that. Also, kind of related to Palestine, because Sankara, during his time as leader, Burkina Faso was very, very, very pro-Palestine. He gave speeches at the United Nations about the Palestinians and the struggle of the Palestinians and how we can learn about their struggle. And again, unfortunate, he was assassinated for that. God, I don't know what that was. And finally, we have Stuart McGill and Vincent Raison's The Roaring Red Front, the world's top left-wing football clubs. Football always has and always will be an extremely, extremely political sport. A lot of working class roots, a lot of left-wing roots, and this book talks about those teams with those very, very strong left-wing roots. Teams like Red Star, teams like Liverpool, and, to be related to Palestine, Palestino. There's a whole section on the team Palestino, which is in Chile, which is very, very supportive of Palestine. There's a lot of Palestinian refugees and asylum seekers in Chile, and so it is tangentially related to Palestine, because it has a whole section about a team that is inspired by and is for, and still to this day is pro-Palestine. You look at their badge, it has the Palestinian flag. They oftentimes will give money to Palestine. They give their support to the people of Palestine. And that's one of the reasons I really picked this up. Obviously, you probably know, if you've been on this channel for a while, I adore football. I adore the politics of football, the tactics of football, everything about it. And so combining left-wing politics and football in a book, for me, it's the perfect book for me. So those are the books I picked up from Bookmarks, and one that wasn't from Bookmarks. Obviously there have a lot more books about Palestine and from Palestine, and to be honest, there were more books that I wanted to pick up. It's just I was on a very limited budget at the time, and I had to pick and choose which books I wanted to pick up and which ones were more in my price range. Obviously some of the books are going to be more expensive because they aren't mass-produced books. Like books you'll find in a Waterstones, they'll sell them for like £2 because those books have so many printings, there's so many editions of those books available. Some of the books you're looking for in a place like Bookmarks, they have limited printings, there's not many books of them printed, you can't really get them super affordably. But, you know, sometimes they will try to make them more affordable. Like I said, some of the books I picked up were on sale because they want people to read about them. Some of the books that are second-hand that you'll pick up will be far, far cheaper. But some of them obviously will be on the more pricey end. But again, I really like Bookmarks, as a bookstore, I highly recommend you go and get the books from there. If you are in and about London, or at the very least go to check it out. They have books on the outside of the store which are all £1 or £1 or £2. There'll be a list, like a sign on there that says £1 or £2 for these books. So again, you can get some cheaper books from there. And again, it's not too far from the centre of London. So, you know, if you're in the middle, even if you're visiting London, you're probably going to be nearby there. It's like walking distance to the museum, walking distance from Tottenham Court Road, walking distance from Russell Square. So it's very, very central. So yes, go check it out. Again, there's going to be links down below to the books, and also links towards an MAP link for you to donate to the people of Palestine. Please, please, please keep up this fight for the people of Palestine. Keep up the writing of letters, keep up the going to marches, keep up the emails, keep up the stopping shipping of weapons to Israel, keep up spreading the message to people, keep up reading, keep up educating yourself, because it is so, so important. Thank you for watching. That's a very long introduction, so there'll probably be a time code for you to skip the introduction to get right into the books. And again, I will continue to speak about books from Palestine. I'll continue to speak about books of people who are oppressed, of people who are, you know, under occupation, people who are suffering, because, you know, we can use our voices here. We can be the voices for those people, and you know, if you can be the voice, if you can educate yourself for those people, it just is such a great, great thing you can do. So yeah, I hope you read some great books today, and free Palestine.